Hello people, this is Scrubsouls. I just bought a new microphone and I'm going to make a short video to kind of test it out. And there appears to be a garbage truck outside. That was a convenient start. I think what I'm going to do here, in case I decide to go through this particular walkthrough and do a few videos, is I'm just going to play a regular game, like, you know, not an SL1 or anything exciting, and just play the game how you would play the game, and just go through it like that. So we'll start with a knight, which is probably the best starting class, I believe, because the weapons and armor, and you start with a 100% shield, and he's got good stats. For burial gift, all of this stuff is stuff that you're going to be able to get. I don't even know what a sovereignless soul is, to tell you the truth. But the rest of this stuff is stuff you're going to get throughout the game, as well as fire gems. But early on, a fire gem is going to come in real handy. So we'll go ahead and start with that. I'm not terribly worried about how my guy looks, so we'll just go ahead and get started. Now, I'm going to try to do this from my PS4 share factory, just the normal 15-minute captures. I'm not sure if eventually I want to go out and buy a capture card, and whether I'll get a console capture card or string it through my PC to make it a little bit easier to record voice and video and whatnot. But mostly I'm just making this video because I want to test out the microphone and test out the levels and see you know, what I need to tweak or change in order to make it sound good, because I've been making some SL1 videos. I'm on I've got 3 bosses on tap. I've got Gundyr, I've got the Nameless King, and I've got the Soul of Cinder, and I'm really frustrated with the Soul of Cinder at SL1, and maybe just looking for a break here. So as I talk about this, I'm just going to talk about it as though my audience, if I have one, are new players to the game and have never played it before. On the ground, you're going to find messages in this beginning tutorial area. It's just going to give you some controls: regular attack, strong attack, lock on. That's a big one. You want to press your thumbstick. That puts a little white dot on your enemy, and so when you move, you'll end up following him. Backstep and roll. This is how we roll. That's how you backstep. You run by holding down the circle button. You have a choice on how you jump, because I've been playing the games ever since the beginning, since Demon Souls. I don't like the default controls for jump, which have to do with your thumbstick. I prefer to dash and then tap circle in order to jump. So the enemies in this area are largely just kind of very, very easy, just kind of getting you acquainted with the game. I guess I missed that message that's telling you how to backstab. That guy actually won't even move. Here you'll get your first gank squad, so to speak. Oh, he actually hit me. All right. This guy needs to go. Pretty basic drops in this area. Really, in this, a kick can come in quite useful, and it's kind of difficult to perform. Basically, you want to push on your left thumbstick forward while you simultaneously hit your right button. And a lot of times you'll accidentally attack, and it can be rather inconvenient, but it looks like this. Aha. Come on, buddy. There you go. What you can do with the kick is, if something is holding a shield up to you, you can kick the shield, and that will stagger it and give you either a riposte or just kind of free attack. What do we got here? Turn back, because there's a tough enemy down here. Hopefully I don't die to this tough enemy. This guy is completely optional. If you're just starting out and you're frustrated with the game and you're finding this guy difficult, I would just skip him. Wait, I already had to ask this. Oh, I got a stagger. Come on. You can stagger an enemy. A lot of times you can take some extra damage from them with a riposte. Now, what you might see is me raising my shield and lowering my shield a lot. The reason for that is, if you watch the green bar, that's your stamina, and you always want to make sure you've got enough stamina while you're playing. That guy's falling. And that gives you a Titanite scale. Titanite scales are used to upgrade your boss weapons, which we won't have access to any for a while. And in fact, I'll be honest, I don't really use any of them for the most part in my playthroughs. But, you know, if you're the sort of person that likes to play around, there are some very good ones that you can make. After you kill a boss, you get its soul, and then you take it to a certain person, and you turn that soul into a weapon. And a lot of people really enjoy the weapons. I just don't usually use them. I tend to use more standard weapons. But whatever your gig is, go for it. I am going to go ahead and rest here. And then I'm going to go ahead and make... Okay, so if you end up seeing kind of breaks, it's not because I died. I'll let you know when I die, or I'll have it part of the video. But you might see some breaks because, of course, I'm limited to 15 minutes, so I'm going to have to break occasionally to make sure that I capture the whole video. And that's really the reason that I should probably go out and buy a video capture card, whether I get a console capture card or... Oop. Oh, no. I rested the bonfire, and I should have. Not that it makes a difference, but I'm going to have to run back there now. Okay, so here's a guy with a shield that you want to kick. There you go. Oh, kick him twice. I want those fire bombs. Those are going to prove useful in the first level of Lothric after we get through this area. And I'll talk a little bit more about how to start out your character. And like I said, I'm gonna build this character in kind of a noob fashion, maybe to help out people who might be watching the movie or watching the video because they're struggling with it. So the weapons I use, the class that I chose, there's my first jump. Oh, and I missed it. I absolutely need that item. This is how you plunge. Hold your R1 as you're falling, and that will pretty much insta-kill something below you, assuming it's not super difficult. Darn it. I'm gonna have to kill all these guys again. I missed my drop. Alright, so I want to go kind of, what do I got here? I want to go straight like this. There we go. Aha! Okay. And we are ready for our first boss, and we rested at the bonfire, so we have 3 flasks, and hopefully I don't screw this up. I shouldn't. This boss is not very difficult. This guy, though, you want to spend more time dodging him than trying to block him, because when you block with your shield, if you get hit in that block, you lose a lot of stamina, and the harder your enemy is, and the harder your enemy is hitting, the more of your stamina is going to go down. And if your stamina completely goes down, you kind of stagger, and then whatever extra damage ends up coming off your health. So even though you've got a 100% blocked shield, you can take damage while trying to block a tough enemy. So for this guy, after we wake him up, we're going to want to dodge him as much as possible. As with any boss in Dark Souls, you're going to want to get behind the boss as much as possible, because that's where they're least dangerous. So we should be able to tackle a little bit of damage off this guy to start. Not like that at all. To me. So it looks like we only took one hit and didn't use any of our flasks. I've seen a lot of people making videos, and making people. The reason people watch these videos is to watch others rage on them. So if you came to watch me rage, you're probably going to be disappointed by that. The lack of raging. So I think what I'll do here is I'll go ahead and save it again to make sure we get through this next area. I don't know if I'm doing this right or not. I've never tried to connect videos. If you look on my channel, most of the videos I started making just because I kind of wanted to preserve the victory and didn't want to basically use up a lot of space on my hard drive, so I made a quick video to post to YouTube so I could erase the footage. But I had fun doing it, and a few people watch them, and I like to think maybe I've helped some people through some difficult parts of the game. You want to be careful when you're near a ledge and you end up with enemies, because if you're locked onto enemies and you roll, it's, depending on how the enemy moves and your positioning, sometimes you're going to roll right off the cliff even though you didn't feel like that was the direction you were rolling. So be careful about that. Gravity is probably one of the Dark Souls series' most dangerous enemies throughout all of the games. Maybe not Bloodborne so much. I don't remember that falling a lot in Bloodborne. We're still dealing with pretty weak enemies. Here, we'll try to kick this guy in. Because that didn't really make a difference. My items. This guy here, he's like intended to grief you, and he doesn't have anything for you. They're like kind of run. Maybe he does. Oh. Come on up here. Is there an item down here? Oh, it really isn't. I've had it happen where I went up to attack him. You're supposed to kick him, but since the kick is so unreliable, at least for me, sometimes I just kick myself right off the cliff. And I'd like to hit this next bonfire without dying. I thought there was an item in there. I think that's later game. You do actually revisit this area late game. It's all dark. And the enemies are much tougher. I want to run around and pick up the easy drops. There is one tough enemy in this area that I'm going to avoid until I've gone ahead and leveled up. so that I don't have to go back to the last bonfire and find all that stuff again. So this is the Firelink Shrine. This is the main hub of the game. This is the point where you will come back in order to level up, in order to upgrade your weapons, in order to purchase things that you might need, or sell things that you want to get rid of. There are going to be NPC characters around this area. There's a guy right down here. He's called the Crestfallen Knight. He's been with us, I think, for pretty much every Dark Souls game, including Demon Souls. Just kind of a mopey character hanging around the Firelink. And sometimes he has more interesting you know what? I have my NPC vocals are shut off. We can take that off. That was me and a friend. No. There we go. I took the voice off because I was fighting Lothric and Lorien. I suppose I can change that music back to normal too. Anyways, I was fighting Lothric and Lorien, which are one of the final bosses in the game, and I was doing so with a level 1 character. And I became so enraged every time I died, and the guy says, you can rest here too if you like. I felt like he was mocking me. So anyways, I turned off the vocals because it was driving me insane. This is the Fire Keeper. We're going to go ahead and make out of the sword that we got from that boss, we're going to make a bonfire here that will allow us to warp back here whenever we want. And then this woman here is the Fire Keeper, and she is how you level up. Like this. You can talk. One thing you should always do when you run into NPCs, always make sure that you keep talking to them until they start repeating themselves. Because some of these conversations are important, even if you don't necessarily care what they're saying. The conversation is important because it possibly, opens up another dialogue down the road, and if you miss it, sometimes you'll screw those up. So anyways, we can level up with her as well. We've got 7558 souls, as you can see in the corner. That should get us a few levels. And right now, since I'm going to do this as kind of a scrub run, I'm interested in using the Uchi Katana. And I think it's 1416, but I could be wrong on that. But let's just go ahead and test that, because we're going to go kill this guy that has the Uchi. Well, hopefully I won't have to cheese him. He is actually quite difficult, but of course we're very low level. This is the Shrine Handmaiden, and she will sell you stuff. And some of it is quite useful. And as you go through the game, you'll pick up umbral ashes, and you give them to her, and then she'll sell more items, based upon which umbral ash you picked up. So by the end of the game, you'll be able to buy relatively high level upgrades from her. Right now, she's got pretty basic stuff. These embers we'll talk about, the soapstones. I am not going to be using any spells in this game, so I'm not really going to worry about that. I could use some of those fire bombs, but right now let's go through here. This is the blacksmith. He's going to upgrade our weapons for us. We do not have enough upgrade materials to reinforce anything. I need 2 Titanite shards, as you can see, but I don't want to upgrade either of these items anyways, so you can also upgrade a bow. That looks like your staffs, possibly your staffs and your cleric items, which are chimes and talismans, and then your shield. A lot of people overlook upgrading shields. Upgrading shields is quite useful. If you look to the far right kind of bottom where it's showing the guard absorption, you see how it says stability 48. That's a fairly important thing to get up when you get a shield. And what that does is it affects how much stamina you lose when you get hit, when you actually block with your shield. So that can be quite useful when fighting more difficult enemies if you're not getting stunned when they do manage to catch you. The other thing this guy's important for is if you do break equipment, you can repair it here. That's not something that will be a big problem in Dark Souls 3. But a lot Estus is important. Since I will never cast a spell this entire playthrough, I do not need any Ashen Estus. The blue one basically refills your magic points. The yellow one refills your health points. So we're going to go ahead and switch that all to health. Reinforce Estus Flask. As we go around the world, we're going to find Estus Flask shards. There are a total of 15 possible, so I guess since we have 4, there are 11 scattered throughout the world. When you come to him and give him an Estus Flask shard, you will get another Estus Flask in your maximum. So by the end of the game, you should have 15. And then we're going to go ahead and talk to him and make sure that he doesn't have anything important to say. I don't believe he does. He's going to kind of explain to us. Oh, no, there was something important. He gives you a emote, which is part of an achievement, getting every emote. Seems like we've got him. Alright. So Infuse Weapon is why I took the Fire Gem in the beginning of the game, because with the exception of one enemy early game, basically nothing is really all that strong against fire. And since we're fairly low level at this point, when you infuse a weapon, what happens is it removes the scaling. As you can see where it says attribute bonus, that has to do with how the weapon's damage scales with that particular skill. So the first one is strength. If I make this a refined gem, my scaling will go to a C from a D, and the lower the letter, the better. So that'll allow me to pick up a little bit more damage. Though as you're looking at it, it doesn't look like it does really anything for me at all. It would end up still being 128 either way. But what I want is fire, and if you look at that, it completely removes all of the attribute bonuses, but it greatly increases the damage of the weapon, and it adds fire damage to it. So that's what we're going to want, but I don't want it on that weapon. I think right now that's all we've got down here. There may be a guy upstairs that we can talk to. Remember, no, I know there's no one up here. We can try to. This is a seed of tree, or this is a giant. They're from Dark Souls 2, and they will drop the. You'll get an exam in here, and they will drop a seed of tree giant when you die. I don't know if it's every time you die to an invader or whatnot, but anyways, those seeds can come in kind of handy. They basically cause all of the enemies in the world to turn against an invader. You can actually jump up this, but I'm not very good at it. I don't really need to. Well, I'll give it one more shot. Whatever. If you jump up there, you can unlock an area that you're going to want to unlock with a key anyways, and there isn't a lot of benefit to it. It'll give you an extra Estus Flask. Okay, so we're going to go kill the Swordmaster in order to get his weapon, the Uchi Katana, which I think is one of the finest weapons in the entire game, and I'd like to make it a fire weapon. So let me go ahead and save the footage so far, and we'll get another 15 minutes. Alright. Now this guy is fairly tough. Don't think you're going to walk over here and demolish him because he's in an early part of the game. He actually can kill you fairly easily. But those guys can't. Early game, make sure you are getting every drop. I mean, I guess late game too. If you don't know what it is, you might see me run past some drops if I continue on and you continue watching. You might see me run past a few drops later on in the game because I know what they are and I know I don't need them. But early game, pretty much all of this stuff is critical. You want it all. So, let's go find our Sword Master. Now this guy will parry you, and what that means is when you attack, he will hit your weapon, stagger you, and then get a right post on you, and do massive damage. That's what he's doing right there. He's trying to parry you. Oh, I was too far away. Look at how much health he has. Did some damage to him there. Come on, buddy. Oh, shoot! Oh, I thought he was going to parry me there. That would have been it for me. Let's heal up here. He just will not stop. You know, the idea here is you're probably supposed to parry him. But, you know, I always fail to parry. I think we're going to be able to take him out without doing anything fancy. Ooh. Holy cow, buddy. Whew. Alright. Here's the goal. The Uchigatana. This is quite a nice sword, and I think I gave myself enough stats to use it. I did indeed. In fact, I didn't need the extra strength I gave myself, but that's okay. I'm going to want 15 strength for 100% block shields. So now that we've got the weapon that we want to use, we're going to go back to Andre. That's the blacksmith.
Tis good what needs.
And we are going to infuse this weapon with fire. Like that. See, that fire gem is what I took as my birth gift, or whatever it's called. And for 1550 souls, I can make this fire gem, or infuse this fire gem into this weapon, which will dramatically increase my damage. As you can see, I'll go from 131 to 198. And this is an unupgraded weapon. We'll actually get quite a bit more damage than that after we start finding some shards. So we'll go with that.
Pretty be careful.
Now, if you're just playing this game for the first time, my recommendation is when you find yourself back in the Firelink Shrine and you're buying things, go ahead and use up whatever souls you need to level up. Use up your souls to level up, and then use the remainder of your souls to purchase things that you might use, like fire bombs or different, you know, things that you can put on your sword to add damage. And the reason you do that is because you're probably going to die a lot if it's your first time through, and there's no point in wasting the souls. So just pretty much get it down to close to zero every time you go back here. I think right now just take some more health. You know, when you're first starting out, I wouldn't worry too much about your strength and dexterity. Make sure that you're able to use your weapon. But what you could really use is more health and more vitality. If you look at your vitality stat, if you look at your health stat here, that's going to give us extra HP, obviously, and it's going to give us 1 extra point in our physical defense, what I call the base defense. But then if we take a vitality, you'll notice that that increases our equipment load, allowing us to carry heavier weapons without going over 70%. You don't ever want to go over to 70% equipment load, or you will you'll fat roll, which will make the game much more difficult. But then if you look up at the base defense, it gave us 2 points. So vitality is kind of easy mode in Dark Souls 3. By boosting your vitality, you can use heavier weapons and equipment, and you're getting about double your base defense bonus. So you can kind of create a character that's very, very strong. But for me, right now, I would say what I would like is just more health. I'd like to get that up to about 20 before I really worry about anything else. At least for the purposes of this playthrough. You know, if you're looking at an effective strategy for someone who's never played Dark Souls. So we've still got 181 souls, and we want to go ahead and use those up. And you can sell these souls to her. You know what, I'm not even going to bother. We can do that later on. We'll start selling souls when we need money, but right now we don't even really need any souls. Alright, so that's the first level of Dark Souls 3 through the Firelink Shrine. I'll go ahead and sit down and edit this, and hopefully everything turned out alright as far as the new microphone and everything. And maybe go ahead and go on to the next boss in a second video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Go ahead and leave a like if you did, and maybe I'll check back and see if I've made more. Thank you.